especially with Eastover, just because they don't have any projects in their area. At least not when you look at the big project map. There's not a whole lot all the way out
Yeah.
there, and so I'd hope that with Forest Acres and Irmo, we can find somebody.
Does the person actually have to live in the incorporated areas, or can they just represent them if they're kind of in the area? Do you know?
I don't know, and I mentioned to Michelle that I was looking for a copy of the bylaws to see if they're any more extensive than what we have on the TPAC page. I'd be interested to know if there are restrictions like that or not. With my experience on city committees, there can be some flexibility here and there when they need it, but not always. Oh my goodness, y'all getting the glare off the top of my dome here. I got the sun setting back there. Howdy, Philip.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Looks like we might still have a couple people trickling in here. We'll give everyone a second to make sure we're here. All right, y'all. It looks like we might have a small crew, and I'm sure we'll have some other folks start to trickle in here soon. But I want to go ahead and call this meeting of the Transportation Penny Advisory Committee to order. Since this is my first time hosting, I will introduce myself. I am John Epting. I have taken on the role of interim chair for TPAC, replacing Philip after doing a great job for goodness knows how many years before I came on board with the committee. But he is timed out and I guess exceeded his maximum reappointments with the city of Columbia, and so taking a step away from TPAC. And I'm going to try and usher this committee forward as we look to strengthen our bench and re-up this committee to get it up and rolling at full steam again. But in the interim, we want to continue to maintain our business, and so in doing so, a key part of that is providing this opportunity opportunity for us to report on the program and to have this open forum. So with that, we'll dive into our agenda. The packet was available online. I hope everyone's able to find a copy. Let us know if we need to send you a link or anything like that. First of all, I guess, have we received any public comments? Michael or Michelle, have y'all heard any?
This is Michael Niermeyer, Transportation Director. We did not receive any public comments either from phone or email even at the TPAC at richlandcountysc.gov email site.
Okay, very good. We'll move forward to the next item on the agenda then, which would be our report from the Office of Small Business Opportunities. Do we have someone on the line who can update us on those activities?
Yes, John, it's Chris Kiefer. I don't see anybody from OSBO on the call, so I'll cover off some of the highlights that I saw.
Thank you.
There is a report from our OSBO team in the packet.
It is.
It looks pretty much the same as it normally does. A couple things I just wanted to point out. It would be on page 4 of your packet, the page that has section 5 analysis, where it shows the contract participation. So those numbers are steadily going up, which is good. Mm-hmm. As are the payments to the SLB, the certified SLBEs. Everything's trending right there. And then on the next page, where you see the SLBE certified firm status, you can see that we are slowly inching back up to where we were pre-COVID. So we had like 97, 98 at the start of 2020. And we apparently dropped a few, but now we're climbing back up. A lot of that has to do with getting folks recertified. We gave a couple of them whose certification had ended during the pandemic, a couple extra months to work on it, because business is pivoting and focused on pandemic response. So now that things are kind of subsiding a little, I think the numbers are trending back up. So we're going to be real happy to hit 100 again sometime in the next couple months. Just rolling on down. Couple pages later, we show some of the workshops that we have done in our business academy. And this is a lot of our outreach and education to small businesses. And every time we do one of these workshops, we kind of tell them a little bit about the program and the benefits. So we've had some pretty good turnout. A lot of that is because we offer these trainings by way of Zoom, and we record them. And sometimes that's a little easier for folks to participate that way than to take time out of their day and travel to an in-person site. So we're probably going to continue doing that. And so with that, I think that's all I really wanted to point out. But if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Is this slate of workshops all planned for this year?
I'm not sure how far along they are with planning the next one. A lot of it is because we're short a couple people. We're staffing back up. We're at 60% staffing right now with a retirement in a position that had not been filled. So we're bringing that back up to capacity. And I think once we onboard those folks and get cooking, we'll start seeing the schedule firm up a little bit.
Great. It looks like a great slate. I'm just hoping everyone gets a chance to get to them sooner than later, but that's very good.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else have any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Just a quick question.
Yes.
This is Rich McHenrick from Blythewood, South Carolina. I did not get the packet for the agenda and discussion items tonight, and was trying to find it online. Is there somebody that can point me to it?
Let me see if we have a chat bar where I can post it real quick, or are we limited to not have chat on this one?
Yeah, I don't see chat.
I don't know if IT is available there. Here, Rich, I can.
It is on the Richland County's website. If you go to committees and then scroll down to the Transportation Penny Advisory Committee, and then you can look at minutes and agendas, and that's where it'll be located.
Chat feature has been disabled for this session, so I can't enable it mid-meeting. I'm sorry.
I understand. Screen share as well.
No, screen share is available.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, Rich, check and see if you can see that, and we'll see if we can maybe make those links a little bit more intuitive. Michael, who do I need to work with? Is that going to be something I can work with Michelle, or is that going to be through IT that I need to maybe firm up some of those links, just because it kind of alludes to a loop that you'll go into and doesn't actually get you to the page that has those agendas?
Yep, I've discovered that I am within that loop.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll clear that up. I mean, we posted to the meeting announcement, or actually in the TPAC, it has like, the agenda listed for the date, and then if there's happen to be minutes afterwards are there. But we'll try to make sure that gets shored up with actually linked within the meeting announcement too. And then when we get it solid, we'll just send it out to the committee separately.
Sorry, I'm trying to get that glare off the screen there. Okay. Right. So, Rich, we'll try to narrate as best we can while you kind of look around, see if you can find that. But Michael, do you mind moving on and giving us your transportation program update?
Certainly. Okay, good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Michael Niermeyer. I'm Transportation Director for Richland County in the Penny Program. I want to start with a couple of things that actually aren't off the agenda. I'd asked John earlier if there's anything else information he may like, and he is the acting at the moment, so I figured I'd give him that. So one of the concerns we brought up was the process the county's going through to get some more appointees on there, and I did reach out to Michelle, and apparently we did receive a few nominees for certain TPAC positions, and then those are with the appointment committee, if I'm correct. Is that correct, Michelle? The Rules and Appointment Committee.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So I would call that progress. I guess we'll see what comes out of the next Rules and Appointment Committee of who's been nominated and for what particular area. So I don't have anything further on that. You brought up something about the Rosewood Airport expansion and collaboration with the Commerce Drive project. About 2 months ago, I believe we had met with the airport commissioner, Mr. Chris Eversman, and discussed the whole, what we were going to do or what we could do, and then what they were looking to do for some outside funding for expansion. And it seems that whatever they're going to do is happen first, so we're kind of reactive. But we haven't moved forward with anything further on Commerce Drive as far as going into design. We need to really address what the airport's doing with this expansion and any particular zoning issues, or I guess height, not to have any height requirements for a road, but just those types of alignments, and also look at how access to those areas would be affected. So we're essentially going to be playing after the fact with them to a degree. Commerce Drive is a project we will do, but it's not a top priority at this exact moment. And again, we'll have to work with the city on that quite a bit, since it does date back to a very old, Commerce Drive improvement plan dating back to 2000 or so.
It's probably been 40 years since that road's been paved back there. It's pretty beat up.
Okay. Yeah. You mentioned the city's bikeway IGA, and that's correct. This has been worked on probably starting since last September slowly, which is sad it took that long, but it just needed to. So what we have going before council is an intergovernment agreement between the city of Columbia and Richland County and the Penny Program, and the Penny Program providing $824,000 of bikeway money to the city for them to construct 5 projects totaling about 8.2 miles. they have the 5 projects listed, and we basically had to go back and see what particular bikeway segments, I guess, encompass that particular bikeway project. So that's underway now. We did have the money within the 21 budget. So once that's executed by both parties, we'll go ahead and invoice the request of money, and we'll be able to pay the city for those projects. And then additionally, quarterly, we'll get quarterly updates from the city on their progress and how the money is being used, and making sure they're compliant with DOR as well as us moving forward. So it was actually a pretty good article that was put out by the Post and Courier. They had contacted us, and after calling Post and Courier back, apparently we missed each other and they went to print anyway, but I thought it was a fair article. They hit a lot of the high points, and it was good. And I think that's the few things that you had. You can use the comment, ask the comment questions when you get to that. But moving forward, just a little bit of updates, some general information on the department. Ms. Kelly Odom's on the line here. She is our new administrative coordinator who was hired in March. I'm glad to have her on board to help facilitate a lot of this and make sure we run smoothly. So Kelly, welcome. This is the TPAC. This is a small yet distinguished group involved, and as you can tell, we're looking to bring some more folks on. We just concluded our interviews with the finance manager transportation position as of Friday. We got some outstanding candidates. I interviewed them along with Director Stacy Ham from the finance department, and we have a recommendation that we'll be moving forward with very soon. Council approvals, we recently had resurface package R approved by council on March 2nd, as well as something unique and maybe some questions on, but the Garners Ferry Harmon intersection scope. What that means is we had looked at doing some D-scope to that project, and that D-scope was approved in May of 20. As we know, after meeting with the on-call engineering team and discussions with project staff, it was determined that nothing de-scoping wise would help improve it. So we basically got permission from council to revert to the original scope of the project, which is underneath the referendum amount. And those modifications are being made now in order to move forward with that intersection contract letting or advertisement. Any question on those two? And I believe, actually just saw today, we have a resurfacing our package pre-con scheduled for, so next week, I believe, the week after. So that's a good thing. Committee approvals, we just got through committee last week. I have Clemson Road Phase 1 sidewalk approved by committee to move forward to council at the next meeting in April. Additionally, we talked about the bikeway IGA already, as well as some mitigation credit bank sales that the committee approved to move forward to council. That is actually for the US 601 bridge replacement project right here in Richland County. Pre-construction wise, we've had a lot of activity lately as we've got things moving. We've got the on-call engineering teams re-engaged, everything from widenings to dirt road projects. As you may recall, the Atlas Road project was split into 2 phases, A and B, A being the widening to 5 lanes from Garners Ferry to Shop, and then B being the Shop to Bluff, which will remain at 2 lanes plus the sidewalk. The current design is working on what we call the tapering of the Atlas Road Shop intersection, because the original plans actually still had the 5 lanes going down. We are still continuing with condemnation activities with our condemnation attorney. And since those have been filed, I dare say when we want to advertise it, but hope to have it advertised before the end of this fiscal year. Blythewood widening, we are continuing very slowly to work with the remaining property owners in order to update some appraisals so we can either get to reach a settlement with those parcel owners or move forward with condemnation. We get the settlement or go and move to condemnation, we'll be able to move forward and advertise that project. Blythewood improvements is a few back and forth. As you may recall, we combined the designs for both McNulty and Creech together, resulting in savings and a better price for the county. Both have been moving along nicely. McNulty a little more smoothly than Creech, but the OET is currently working on construction plans for McNulty. The right-of-way plans are completed and under review too. Looking into the intersection, we're looking at some intersection options for McNulty at Bonnie Road, based on, do we go four-way stop or we remain at the currently designed traffic circle? There'll be more to follow on that. And then additionally, we've had some contract to do some boring samples along Creech to make sure that we have the type of subsurface that we need for the project. Broad River Road widening, we're continuing to work on the scope and the service order update for the OET. That is definitely an ongoing thing. Polo Road widening, OET is continuing to survey and collect data for the project. So again, that's still in its very infant stages, looking at those 4 intersection improvements and then looking at a 5th to see if that requires additional work. Spears Creek Church Road is very similar. The on-call engineering team are continuing to do the survey and do data collection for that particular project. Bull Elmwood, yes, that's still ongoing, but we are finalizing the settlement with the remaining property owner. We had some utility plans that required updating that we completed. Bid documents are being prepared, and as part of the settlement with that final property owner, we got approval by the City of Columbia to go ahead and widen their soon-to-be only entrance and exit off of Wallace Street to help with our parishioners getting in and out of the parking area. So that's all been completed. That's really what we need to reach the agreed upon settlement. And once that's done, we'll be able to finalize those bid documents and advertise. Shop Road Extension 2. Nothing significant, that just working on the scope updates so we can go ahead and start that design. For some reason, all my pages are gone. There we go. Sorry, excuse me a moment. Crane Creek Greenway, again, still developing final design and design fees for the project. Gills Creek, and I think I'll do a quick update. I know, John, you had asked about the proposed public meeting. So we have, OET has been under service order for design. As we looked at the phase 4, which was going to be the remaining section we anticipated we could complete, which was from Mickle Lane down to the Timberland area, we had to go do a strong look at what funding was available based on what was previously not allocated, what was. Actually, Mr. Jeff McNesby, who's the project manager of this, was working on a new cost assessment today, so I'll have more information on that. However, as far as the public meeting, back in February, the city and the county were out on site looking at alignments with the on-call engineering team, which evoked a reaction from certain people in the neighborhood when they got a little curious or concerned with a bunch of white government trucks and a bunch of people hanging out and talking. It kind of reminded folks that, oh yeah, there's going to be a Greenway project around here. So there was a pretty strong minority reaction to that. So the intent was to come back and provide some better information to folks. It might have been a bit of a knee-jerk reaction initially, and we're looking to go ahead at some point, and once we have a better idea of what the scope is, be able to provide that information to the folks that are along that area and anybody else in form of a public meeting, but also include City of Columbia. They can talk about their Envision 2035 to a degree, and also Parks and Rec to talk about their maintenance and security, as well as CPD to talk a little bit about that. Because people tend to get a little nervous with new and unknowns, and be able to show them the benefits of both greenways as well as how it's maintained and be secured would be very important. So outside of the few that were really concerned with it, I've also got about 2 to 3 times more outreach of support for the said greenway. So we'll we're real excited to finally pull that together and see what that's going to be. But I don't want to be premature with incorrect data before we start having these type of public events. Any questions on Gills Creek Greenway? Because that's a lot.
Yeah, I guess it sounds like it'll be difficult to have an in-person meeting anytime in the next, few months. Or do you have a timeline pulled together, or have you considered doing this virtually, or
Originally, it was
too early
beginning of
now?
March. Now it was the end of March, and then we're looking at. There was an idea to have an in-person outdoor event, which I've been trying to have some discussions on, which should be be logistically really challenging. I know one thing we have done to help is to go ahead and we got Mr. McNesby out there with our PIO to do some video and some voiceover work. And I think they're producing a video to kind of discuss the Greenway and some of the areas, just so we can try to get some relevant and current information out there. So I don't have an update on that, but that's one of the ideas to, again, get some media out there and talk about what could be. Moving forward, the on-call engineering team is finalizing current survey work for the Smith Rocky Branch Greenway Section C. They came up and they discovered that we have to do some more, we had possibly some more survey work for utilities as well as trees. As you know, the whole point of the Greenway is to maintain as much green as we can, and we want to make sure that only what's necessary to be removed will be removed. They have started on right-of-way plans. Sunset Road sidewalk. There's a few remaining sewer and drainage issues that the on-call engineering team is working with the project manager on. South Carolina Department of Transportation was supposed to, is still reviewing the plans. So we anticipate those plans returned any day now. Percival Road sidewalk, OET, on-call engineering team is preparing their fee proposal for us. There was an updated drainage design that was left over from the last set of drawings that needed to be completed. So we had to do some additional stormwater utility engineering on that. Those are, I don't think Percival is going to come out very soon, but it's real close, like a lot of these projects are. Alpine, we've submitted the plans for the line disturbance permit. And then we talked earlier about the council approval to return the Garner's Ferry Carmen Road intersection back to its original scope. So there was just some paperwork that needed to be done for that, and the fee developed for the on-call engineering team for some additional services. And once that's done, we should be good to go ahead and advertise that. Any other questions on the pre-construction? Okay, hearing none. I know that was a lot. Just on the construction update, a lot of good news. We're a lot of good projects that have been wrapping up, and got some good feedback. Start first with the Decker Woodfield neighborhood improvement program, which is the faraway sidewalk project that was it's essentially complete. It took 2 months as opposed to 6 months, so we're real happy with that. So they're just looking at this punch list items now. Once they get through that, we'll be able to close that project up. North Springs Harrington intersection, another very successful project. It's in closeout. It was completed after the last remaining punch list items were done. Polo Road SUP, served use path, is substantially complete. This week, we're actually, the contractors out there raising 2 of the fire hydrants that needed to be raised after the sidewalk was completed. So I believe those hydrants are 1 of 2 remaining punch list items. And once that's done, they'll be able to do the final inspection and close that out also. Harrison Road sidewalk substantially complete. Another excellent project. Innovista Phase 2, Green Street Phase 2. Stay around, I think it's a little north of 30% complete since last report. As you can see from my picture, which is dated, and if I put a newer one up there, you'll see the bridging along the bridging or the decking on the bridge. We're also looking at having a pour of concrete on the 31st in the evening. Substantial completion still estimated around March 22nd with the March 2022 with the current schedule. Okay, Clemson Road sidewalk is in closeout. North Main, a lot of the similar activities the last time with the asphalt curb and gutter and sidewalk between Sunset and Monticello. Still looking at a 95% complete, and construction is due to be over by this summer. So that's another great project that'll be completed soon. Three Rivers Greenway, we've been hanging at 99% for a long way. We finally did get the as-built surveys completed through no small effort, and submitted the city for comment. And I'm waiting on an update on that. What that'll allow us to do is to formally turn over that completed phase of the Greenway to the city of Columbia. I believe we might have spoken of this in one of the past TPACs, but as far as 1B, which is the remaining portion from the completed terminus at the south end or southeast end of the Greenway down to the Boyd Island connector, required a cofferdam to be installed in order to drain it so they could pour the footers and install the uprates for that bridge. That was delayed this winter due to high water. We're quickly approaching where the water's going down, so they'll be able to come back, install that dam, and begin work. Work, once started, is anticipated to take 90 days. We are coordinating with the railroad, and they have some engineering requirements for us that we're working on. So if there's any delays, it could be because of railroad construction permissions that we've been working on. So that's a little bit beyond our control.
Michael, with that, are these kind of two separate items, I guess, that 1A would be handed over to the city regardless of when 1B is completed?
That's absolutely correct. So 1A is that top section from 126 down to, I guess, the maintenance road that goes back towards the railroad overpass and to Boyd Island. It's been completed for a very long time. The requirements with the city was to provide, not drawings, but as-built surveys, which incorporates not only the properties we acquired and deeded over, but the surveys of where the zoo is located, the alignment of the greenway, the buildings, the parking area, and just bring that all into one set of surveys. So that's what was going back and forth, finally completed, and the city has done their comments, and I believe those are being addressed, and I think we're just waiting on the engineer to stamp them so they can be turned over, and then it's officially the city's portion. And then B, the second part, which was not constructed due to a lot of the back and forth with the railroad. Rather than waiting on that, we split the project in two phases, turn the one over, finish the second one, and it'll be done.
Great.
Appreciate that clarification.
Yeah, get that turned over to the city quick before the utility conflicts start to manifest out there for the new sewer and the new interstate.
Yeah, good point. Dirt Road Package J is closed out. So Dirt Road Package K, which is 4 roads, that is they started site clearing, which is good. That'll be that's 4 roads, District 10 and 11. Don't anticipate any issues with that one. Southeast Richland neighborhood improvement, the Rabbit Run connector and shared use path is nearly complete. The Lower Richland Boulevard shared use path is also nearly complete. And currently, for those of you that travel that corridor past Lower Richland Boulevard, either east or west, you probably noted some lane closures where these medians are being installed. But before the raised medians can be installed, they've been marked off with paint, and the drainage structures are being installed. once that's done, they can be prepared. They can prepare that road for paving, raising up those medians, and that'll be completed, we anticipate, by the summer of 2021. Resurface package Q is closed out. Resurfacing package R, I mentioned that earlier, that it was awarded, and we have a pre-construction meeting, I believe next week or the week after. No changes to Hardscrabble Road, still substantial completion in late 2022, according to USD, or the South Carolina Department of Transportation. For some of you, this would be an interesting, for open solicitations, we currently have a transportation improvement contract that's being advertised for Old Garner's Ferry Road. You may, if you're familiar, it starts at Old Garner's Ferry Road and ends at Old Garner's Ferry Road, and it loops back behind Pinewood Lake. It's a county road in desperate need of repair. So this contract will be improved using some mesh to help stabilize the subsurface, and then it will be paved. So that's under open solicitations. Closed. We talked about Clemson Phase 1 sidewalk already. That was re-advertised. It's up for, Clemson Phase 1 sidewalk, advertised in November, and it is pending award currently. Upcoming, I mentioned a few of these earlier. We still have Alpine Sidewalk, which is working on that bid package for advertisement. Percival, a little bit later on, maybe in the summer to the fall. Sunset, we're looking at a potential summer 2021. Atlas Road widening, we'll just say fall 2021 to be safe. Of course, Garner's Ferry Road with the scope, with the implementing the old scope back, look at 2021. Bull Elmwood as summer 2021, and then Blythewood widening. I'm going with winter 2021. This has been just very slow coming to settlement or to condemnation with those remaining parcels. With that, we've also included some of the March financials. Clean those up a little bit, and pending any further questions, that's all I have tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, y'all. Any other questions for Michael? I think I've tapped myself out.
I guess just the Bull, excuse me, he tried to say Bull Elmwood. I'm assuming that's moving forward nicely. Not really any holdups anymore as far as getting that right of way.
That's correct. I think the last remaining parcel owner on the corner needed some insurance that they'd be able to construct that widened entrance and exit off of Wallace Street into their parking area, since the project will remove their other entrance exit onto Elmwood. In discussions, looking at the designer, submitting a draft to the city. The city's good with that widening of that entrance. So they have that assurance. So now they can finalize what they need to do to settle on this, on the payment. So.
Yeah. And last thought on the Gills Creek, I do want to say I'm glad we're trying to move forward with it again. I want to also extend good luck on it. That is been one of the more confounding projects as far as a very vocal minority of people exhibiting very NIMBY behavior about good things happening in the community. So I'm hoping that you get over the hump and get that project done this time around.
Right. And if I may, just to kind of follow your statement there, Philip. This project goes, talking to the city of Columbia, goes back 100 years to some of their original planning, which I learned about. And the county has a mandate to build something, build a greenway. And then further, we have support from the local populace dating back to 2016, 2017 to build a greenway. So I look at that as my authorization to do something, move forward with something. However, we're not here to design something that is going to blow the bank. That's not the point. We will build something that's fiscally responsible, meets all the requirements we need to meet, and can be enjoyable by, anyone who comes to visit or lives here. So we are looking forward to doing that. It's, you said there's been a lot of back and forth, and good luck. I appreciate that. I know we'll need it, but again, we've got a lot of support, and that's what we're going with. So,
Is any easement required for that work?
most of the work should be on the existing easement that we have with the City of Columbia on their sewer line that runs down that that alignment. So there may be some others here and there, but we also have properties that are city owned and the county owned to be used. So I just haven't seen the detail of that easement, how wide it is, and how the path would align on that. Because obviously you can't block access to the sewer line should something happen. So we'll be seeing that real soon, though.
All right, very good. Well, hearing no other questions, I appreciate your contribution, Michael. And from there, we'll move on down the agenda to discuss the comment program. John Ando.
Top of the afternoon to everybody. John Ando, Executive Director of the Comet. I also have Natavis Eric Harris, our Planning and Development Specialist with me. And moving into the packet, starting with page 12 through 16 are the financial reports from the Comet ending from November of 2020 to January of 2021. And it gives you basically a highlight of how we've been expending our funds to date. Just for the committee's information, as of January 31st of 2021, we have spent $129,729,846 of the penny that's been allocated to us. And we have a remaining balance of $171,261,154. And additional detailed breakouts of how we've expended those funds in December and January showed on pages 15 and 16 of your packet. Are there any specific questions on the finances before I continue on? Right, hearing none. Pages 17 through 19 is a summary of our DBE and MBE expenditures throughout the fiscal year. If I jump to page 19, ending February 20 of 2021, we've achieved so far, we've spent about 38.2% of our contractors' budgets on minority and disadvantaged business enterprises. We collectively have 23 contracts that we are monitoring MDBEs on, and gives you a detailed breakout of what we've paid them, how much we're paid to DBEs, what their contractual requirement was, and how much percent of the goal has been achieved. Any questions on our MDBE program and our tracking? Okay. Hearing none, I'll have Eric summarize our planning efforts from on pages 20 through 22. Eric?
Yes, thank you all for having me. I'll just go ahead and get started and just provide an update for our ridership. I did not add that into the packet, but I'll be happy to provide some updates for you. As of right now, routes that have had a positive response to COVID, we have Route 42, which is our Millwood Avenue route, Route 75, Decker and Park Lane, Route 32, North Main and Hardscrabble, Route 83, St. Andrews route, and I guess, by guilty of association, Route 801 as well, which is another Harbison route. So we're starting to see a positive increase in those areas. It's probably because they are located in the corridors of a lot of essential locations. So like Blue Cross Blue Shield, some of those very high activity hubs. And again, Harbison Walmart, Sam's Club, Columbiana Mall, all of those things in that area. Also, taking a look at where we are as far as other routes, Route 97, in July of last year was 1 passenger altogether. And now as of December of 2020, they were up to 16 passengers. So we're starting to see positive feedback there on that route. Nephron is moving in the right direction. They have upwards of 335 passengers from what we would consider normal ridership. From July to October, it was percentage change of 56%. In October to date, 25%. So we're starting to see, again, really positive feedback as things starting to get slowly but surely back to normal. Dark ridership is slowly but surely, again, moving back to normal as well. About 35% away from what we would consider to be normal ridership. And as of right now, our top 5 routes would be Route 83, 83L, that's St. Andrews, Route 77, Polo, the Route 75, which is Decker and Park Lane, Routes 45, Leesburg, Hazelwood, which is also interlined with Route 401. The Gardner's Fair, Walmart is along that route. And DART, of course, would be our honorable mention there. The bottom 5 will probably be, what I have is 57L, Killeen and Clemson, Route 47, Eastover and Gadsden, Route 55, which is Sand Hills, Route 1, West Columbia and Casey, and they're down 50% in ridership. Route 61, which is Shop Road, Avonlea Glen Detention Center is along that route. But that's where we are as to date. Do you have any questions about ridership at this time?
Seeing none, but well covered, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, carrying on. As far as planning activities go, we have successfully put our Title VI plan. It's on our website for public accessibility. If you have any questions or know anyone that would like to provide any feedback, we'd be happy to take those into consideration as we go through the implementation process of that plan. We are in the process of installing a new AVL system, working with strategic mapping, and they will provide us an APC on our buses, which is an automatic passenger counter. And this will allow us to get more timely ridership data, seeing what activity hubs around our entire service area are responding well on during given points of the day to see how we can modify our services to meet service demands. We're in the process of moving towards our route analysis, where we look at our entire system over the course of this past year and compare it from year to year, and see what we can do to either, again, modify some of our routes or some of our decisions as we seek to move forward with bus stop placements and improvements and things of that nature. And so that brings up the amenities portion of my presentation. So as of 03/01/2021, March 1st, we're set to install 22 bus shelters and 2 lean rails. And we're in the process now, we have inquired an order for 14 more shelters, 2 benches and 6 semi-seats. Some of these stops some of these amenities will be fulfilled on North Main. Also, we are moving forward with our micro transit program. This is a pilot that is set to be between 6 to 12 months. And we are going to roll that out for the Irmo area. Sorry about that, guys. We're looking at 3 different areas: Lake Carolina, Pontiac, and also Irmo, but we're trying to prioritize Irmo at this time. And I guess through this process, we're going to evaluate and see what we can do to possibly move forward and make this into a permanent service, or at least a common practice with the Comet. Any questions about those items up to this point? Okay, hearing none. Lucius and River, the North Columbia bus stop, we're still moving forward. We anticipate for that project to be completed by September. Outside of that, JWA, which is probably the most important, Jared Walker and Associates. This is our Reimagine the Comet program, and I've placed this on probably every agenda for the last 3 or so meetings, just to make sure everyone was fully aware. We have received all the feedback I feel like is necessary from a public outreach standpoint, but we are still welcoming as much information as possible as we try to make a final decision. We were set to have this discussion last week on Wednesday with our board, but they elected to defer this agenda item to next month. As of right now, as the results stand, we're at 44% ridership from the feedback we received, 44% people favorite coverage, and the 12 remaining percent was more so in between. Obviously, we would have to make some type of decision, but if we're looking at somewhat of a 50-50 split, then we will see a mixture of how we want to prioritize our next steps. Just in case some of you are not familiar with the process, if we choose the ridership option, we'll be placing routes in areas that people will use the routes the most, obviously. If we looked at the coverage option, we'll be looking at placing routes as far out in the rural areas as we possibly can expand our service. There's obviously a give and take through that process, but we're trying to best manage that and our public feedback and try to make the best decision.
Okay. Eric, one more before we move on. Mr. Walker, I see your hand up.
And I do. Thank you, Mr. Epting. And Mr. Harris, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for the presentation as well. I mean, I know you're not finished, but certainly this is a very thorough presentation and one that's edifying. But I do have a question about the bus shelters. Didn't catch you before you moved on to the next part of your presentation, but do we know where those bus shelters will be placed throughout the county, and what sort of criteria, if any, is the comment using for determining where bus shelters will be placed?
No, absolutely. So it's a combination of, we have a sit-in policy that outlines different metrics for what type of amenity would be warranted to be at a given location. But opposed to looking at that, our metrics, we also receive feedback from the public. So for instance, we received a request for the VA hospital, Byron Road, right outside of the VA hospital as well. And so when we receive those customer comments, we jot it down to see whether or not it's feasible. Do we feel like people will be using this long term? And we take a look at those things and we go ahead and put something out there for them. Okay. But as far as locations, I can list those out for you. That I know that was a part of that March 1st order. Okay. Hardin and Taylor northbound, Hardin and Taylor southbound, Shop 1047 eastbound, Devine and Millwood eastbound, Gardners and Dorn westbound, Devine and Height eastbound, Devine and Queen eastbound, Buckner Court westbound, Blossom Gadsden westbound, Farrow and Gateway southbound, Hayward and Cora southbound, Forest and 4840 eastbound, Fashion and Forum westbound, Assembly College northbound, Gardner's Patterson westbound, Williams and Kmart Superstop. That's one that we've been really trying to push for. It's definitely been a lot of customers that reached out about that. Hewlin East Hospital eastbound, Frank and Foreman westbound, Julius, Fielder and Frank southbound, Boston Campus westbound, and Knott's 9th westbound.
Okay. And Mr. Harris, I know I've had a number of constituents in my district, District 8, which is in the Northeast. Well, starts in Arcadia Lakes and Forest and goes as far out as Lake Carolina. But I've had, constituents ask about bus shelters. One in particular that comes to mind is right off of Polo Road, across from an apartment complex. And at this particular bus stop, or transit stop rather, when the grass grows rather high at times, and it would, a rainy, wet morning, you may have a person or two standing there on the side of the road, in wet grass. And so, and there are a couple more locations like that in the Northeast. But I was just curious about far as how you go about allocating those, the bus shelters, along with, the criteria, I guess, for, being eligible for it, if you will. But it sounds like you're saying that it depends on the amount of, calls or the amount of calls or feedback that you get from the community.
Absolutely. through the APC, which is the automated passenger counters, we're able to see at every given stop, how many passengers are getting on at any given point of the day. And so that allows us to be able to filter the threshold of what we have in our sit-in policy. And as of right now, I believe we're working with around the 20 and above as we're prioritizing right now our Reimagine the Comment. So we're trying to stay in the zone, looking at routes, again, that have 20 passengers a day at least and above. And from there, we're putting out amenities. But the primary way that we are going about it now, nowadays, more often than none, is when we receive public feedback. And so I would definitely take a look at Polo Road and see what we can do to get something installed there.
All right, Polo Road, and I would also say Two Notch as well, but this is Two Notch near the Walmart, going towards Sand Hills area also.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you. Okay. I guess outside of that actually does more so conclude my report. If anyone else has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those at this time.
Right. Hearing none, the last piece of the last three pieces of our presentation, pages 23 through 30 is our annual report that we're required to produce in accordance with Section 582570 of the South Carolina Code of Laws, us being a regional transportation authority. And it basically highlights all of the activities that we have done last fiscal year with the comment, including on page 29, I'm going to highlight some of those things, including implementation of our Comment to the Market program to connect people to food deserts, getting community development block grants to provide specialized services for low-income residents and bus shelters, getting hospitality funds to connect transit to tourism activities. We were able to launch bus service to Congaree National Park, for instance, and fund the downtown Soda Cap connector with its expansion to Casey and West Columbia. As part of the pandemic, we responded very quickly by making the transit system free, restructuring the services to make sure we have the right level of services, and installing barriers on our buses and doing extra cleaning efforts to keep our passengers, employees safe. We've completed the installation of Blue Bike in downtown Columbia, as well as linking it to our smart card system so people can use their bus pass to unlock bicycles free of charge for 45-minute rides. And then among hosts of other things, including adding additional passenger bus amenities throughout the service area, installing new fare boxes, restructuring our organization to be more efficient, getting awards for ensuring that we are demonstrating financial transparency to the public on how we're spending all of our funds, the penny funds, miscellaneous funds, and federal funds, as well as state funds. Continue to form partnerships with various organizations, businesses, and community groups in our region. That includes launching the National Safe Place, where youth are in trouble. They can board our buses to be connected to a safe haven until they can get the services that they need. We did award a new contract to RATP Dev, which is operating the transit system for the next 5 years. We completed negotiations with the University of South Carolina to operate U of SC Transit and integrate their services into the Comet transit system. And then we completed our progress report, which I presented at previous meeting on our efforts to launch Vision 2020 and the efforts of our strategic plan. Any questions on our annual report? All right. Page 31 and 32 of the packet. We launched during this back in January, Don't Miss Your Shot. And basically we're encouraging people to get vaccinated. And as part of that, we are giving a whole host of transportation services to connect people to access the vaccination, whether it's the common fixed route system, door-to-door services with our DART service for seniors and persons with disabilities, or our new recently launched mobility programs, pickup program where seniors and persons with disabilities can use taxis, Lyft, or Uber, or V-Trip where seniors and persons with disabilities can get reimbursed at the IRS rate for finding somebody to take them to their various transportation needs, and that includes getting the vaccination. We're distributing this brochure on our buses. We have a dedicated website to also help people in connecting to the various vaccine locations. This brochure was printed back in January. We have since updated it to add additional locations, but this gives you an idea of what common buses go to the various places that are offering the vaccination. Free of charge, you just need to show some proof that you have a vaccine appointment and basically just take the comment to those facilities. Any questions about our Don't Miss the Shot campaign?
No questions, but that's a great service. I'm glad y'all are providing it.
Thank you. And lastly, pages 33 through 40 is a summary of all of our marketing activities within the Department of Marketing and Community Affairs. And it just tells you what we're doing to continue to engage the community, increase ridership, and various programs to just show that the Common is a part of a community. We just recently created this department to continue to demonstrate our efforts to show that we want to be a part of the community. And that concludes my presentation.
Very good. Thank you, John. Thank you, Eric, as well. Any comments, questions, or concerns for the comment that we haven't discussed so far? All right, well, hearing none, we will move on to discuss our other business. I'll move things around a little bit in our agenda here and say that we have addressed the membership for TPAC. We are looking to find some new folks who want to engage with this committee. And so if y'all know anybody who lives pretty much anywhere in Richland County, there's an opening for them. So please tell your friends and families and your best friend from the gym or whatever it may be. Let's try and get some folks involved here. I will continue to reach out to the other municipalities, the City of Columbia, Forest Acres, Irmo, all these folks to make sure we can get staffed up. Our next meeting will be April 26th. It's probably safe to assume that will be another Zoom meeting. So we'll go ahead and get that set up and work to make sure everyone's got agendas and that sort of thing before we get started. So before I adjourn this meeting, is there anything else anyone wants to add or that we didn't have an opportunity to talk about as we were going through here, Michael?
Yeah, I just want to recognize, appreciate Administrator Brown participating, as well as Councilman Overture Walker as a new sitting Transportation Ad Hoc Committee Chair. So appreciate your participation today. I know everyone else who's here does too.
Absolutely. Just thank you all both very much. And Michael, thank you for reminding us of that. So with no further business to address, I'm sorry, Councilman Walker, would you look at the...
Well, actually, I wasn't. I was just waving. But since you put me on the spot, Mr. Epting, well, thank you all for the service that you are offering to the county as well. So I know this is the second meeting that I've attended, and each time it's been edifying. I learned something new about what's going on in Richland County. You all, have been in the county long enough, and you've to hear about some of the stories about the penny. But I wish most of the public would attend, these meetings, or at least one, that they could find out about all the great things that are happening with the penny, and that we have just committed and vigilant citizens such as yourselves that are ensuring that that taxpayers' money is being well spent. So again, just thank you all for the service that you're offering, as well as you, Mr. Ando and Mr. Harris.
Well, thank you, Mr. Walker. If I may also add, we look forward to Mr. Walker's participation as the next representative from Richland County to join the Common Board of Directors.
Thank you, Director Ando. Appreciate that.
Very good. I'm thrilled to hear it, and absolutely, we have the best minds in Richland County on this call, and so, or the in-person meetings when we have them, and so there's always a lot to be learned. There's no doubt about it. So again, I appreciate everyone joining us today. If y'all need anything, please, what is it, tpac@richlandcounty.gov, Michael? Is that the one? That's the one.
That's correct. tpac@richlandcountysc.gov.
Thank you for that clarification. So please let us know if anything else comes up. And Philip, do we get to expect you at our next meeting?
As long as I'm not replaced, I'll keep showing up.
All right, we won't bother with goodbyes today then, all right? Okay, well, with that then, we will adjourn this meeting. I appreciate everyone coming, and I hope y'all have